Welcome to the Double Dribble Podcast with Dubin and Dakil. That's Jared Dubin, author of Last Night in Basketball, which is one of the most amazing newsletters that are out there. Make sure you subscribe to it because it's a delight when it ends up in my inbox. Just today, we were talking about playoff seeding, and he had a picture of hands holding seeds, and it did spark hunger in me, but that might just be because I'm always hungry. I'm Mo Dakil, former video coordinator with the Clippers, Spurs, Team Australia. I do videos on Offside. Make sure you're following on Offside, offside.gg. Download the app. We're going to have something for you Android freaks later. Yeah, I call you all freaks. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to have following along there. I'm on NBA TV. I'm on all sorts of podcasts. Make sure you're subscribed to this podcast. Make sure you're checking us out on YouTube. Make sure you're leaving reviews, nice reviews. We only accept 5 stars. And make sure you don't say anything about our dogs, because then I will continue to make fun of you, and I will not be happy with you as a human being. Jared, I've been talking for quite a bit, and I'm getting a little punchy, and this is like the 7th try at the intro, so maybe you speak.
It was, I think, the 7th try at the intro, but it was a successful one, so we'll take it. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Spotify, iTunes, wherever else you get your podcasts, youtube.com/@doubledribblepod. Leave us the 5-star reviews and ratings and whatnot, and we'd really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. We are trying to build something here. Jared, we're almost up on a 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Pretty close.
Pretty cool. I was just thinking about that the other day. It made me smile a bit. Let's just go into the big news that dropped, like officially dropped, I guess, a couple hours ago. Jayson Tatum is now is questionable for the Celtics game against the Mavs on Friday, which pretty much means he's going to play and make his comeback. That would make it about a 10-month recovery. Coming back from the Achilles tear, the Celtics, number 2 team in the East, they've been pretty phenomenal despite getting their asses kicked by Charlotte last night. Jared, just hit me with your opening thoughts right here.
It's honestly crazy that he's able to do this, to come back from an Achilles tear in less than 10 months. Like, he tore his Achilles in the middle of May, and he's going to come back like a week shy of 10 months later, thanks to having gotten the surgery like the next morning after he tore his Achilles before any swelling had set in. It's absurd that he's able to do it. I still get a little bit scared on the aggressiveness of the timeline, but if he thinks he's ready and the Celtics doctors think he's ready, then, who am I to say that he shouldn't be doing it? It is a little bit scary, though, just thinking about how quickly he's coming back compared with how long it usually takes for Achilles tears to heal, which is generally like around a year.
Yeah, and it's a couple of things here, because I echo your sentiment in terms of, a little bit fearful for him. But yeah, if the doctors say it's a green light, he feels good it's a green light, then he's going to go play. And the Celtics have a lot to play for right now. They're right in the mix in the East. We talked about them last week. I don't know what's going on with my brain today. It's going to be really interesting the rest of today. But I think you have a lot of stuff that's like, all right, it's almost like a rocket launch, right? It's like, all right, system go, this goes, cool. Let's do it. And I'm interested to see kind of how they handle it. He's not coming in and playing 35 minutes right off the bat, right? Like they're going to ease him into it, is my guess. I wouldn't even be shocked. It's at home, so he probably will start, but I wouldn't be shocked if they brought him off the bench. It's easier to control players' minutes by bringing with them off the bench than as a starter, because it's just kind of a weird, funky sort of thing, a quirk in terms of just like you start the game and then all that stuff. But I want to ask you this question. Let's take our injury concerns to the side. We know he's not Jayson Tatum 100%, right? I don't anticipate that. How do the Celtics approach this when you look at the season Jaylen Brown has had, the season the team has had? A lot of guys have stepped up. How do you approach this if you're a Boston Celtics staffer, and what do you do, and how do you kind of like prep for it?
So I think what really helps here is that Tatum is probably like the most malleable star that we've had since Kevin Durant. when you think about it. He's good at everything. At least good at everything. He is a great individual shot creator, especially in like short area kind of stuff. Obviously, that's not something that you expect to be great again right away, but he's still good at that. He's a good shooter. He's a good passer for his position. He's a good defender across multiple positions. So being able to integrate him, and they can do a variety of things with him. They can use him off the ball and make it work with him playing off of Jaylen Brown. They can use him on the ball and go back to the kind of things that they were doing last year. They can run him off of screens. They can get him in the post. They can do everything with him, but not have it overwhelm the offense because he's also able to play a complementary role due to his skill set. I wouldn't imagine that he's going to be like Sam Hauser or Baylor Shireman out there where he's just like spotting up away from the ball and not doing anything with the ball in his hands. But you also don't have to do everything with the ball in his hands because he is able to be a threat in so many different ways.
Like, that's where I'm most fascinated is how will this affect Jaylen Brown? Who, like, there are echoes of like him, like there are quotes where he says stuff where it's like, I've sacrificed so much and now's my time. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's the
And
level
he's up to second in the league in usage rate this year. Like, it's a big thing to ask him to sacrifice 5% usage or whatever.
Right. And so it's like, but like, how does he actually handle that? And I think he'll handle that fine, but you can't tell me 100% no problems, right? Like there's an element of like, this is an adjustment. We got to figure this stuff out. I know most people are using the Chris Webber coming back and Peja Stojakovic, basically hits the tank after having a relatively MVP-like season. I don't think it's going to be that, right? And I think there's a level of like, Tatum, I think, has a better understanding of like, this is how I need to approach this. And but it's a fine line you got to dance. Like you're introducing something that can be volatile into your environment. And I don't want I feel bad because I know I sound like panicking or whatever before even seeing anything, but I'm just kind of I try to play out all the scenarios in my head, right? And all the different timelines and possibilities. And it's like, there are places where this just goes terribly wrong and sinks them.
Yeah, there are scenarios where that happens. I think that there are probably more scenarios where it doesn't happen that way, where it doesn't like completely sink them just because of, like I mentioned, the malleability of his skill set. I also think it helps that he's probably not going to be playing, like you said, 35 minutes a night right away. So it's not going to be possible for him to completely overtake the offense from Jaylen Brown and really throw the equilibrium off that way.
Yeah, but I think it's still like, they're going to trend to that. If everything goes right and the NASA launch continues to get there, by the playoffs, I think he's going to be close to like a 30-minute game. Yeah. And by the way, you could add a Jayson Tatum to your lineup. You add a Jayson Tatum to your lineup. Like, you add a good, like, there's no hesitation in like that stuff.
Oh, I'm so worried about what's going to happen to Baylor Shireman and Hugo Gonzalez's minutes. Like, I'm sorry,
right?
I don't care.
Come on, like, yeah, like this is like your floor definitely goes up and your ceiling goes up when Tatum gets to walk through the door and healthy. It's like that's just that's what I'm watching for more than anything else. Is how does it work with the two of them? What the offense? How does it divide up? And then what happens once? Knock on wood, when we get to the 30-minute a game Tatum, what's the offense, his role in the offense, and how does that look? Does it become a little bit more, hey, let's go back more to Tatum? And then how does Brown handle that? Or is it Tatum kind of being more like, all right, well, like, I guess I'm more of the second option this season, and we let Brown go? Or then, like, there's just so many, like, we're struggling and we're not playing well. All right, I'm going to take over now. Give me that ball, Jay. Like, there's a lot of, like, weird, it's fragile, like, the stuff. Like, I don't think people really understand because we just think, like, this is how it should be and that's that. The locker room chemistry and how these things work, it's so fragile. It doesn't take much to upset it. So that's why I'm always kind of like, I'm a little bit tense about it.
Yeah, I think I'm less worried about it than you are, just based on the way we're both talking about it. Like, they also have so much experience playing together. Like, the idea that it's going to completely collapse around them just seems not that possible to me. Can there be fits and starts and can there be ups and downs? Absolutely, and I would expect there to be. There are 20 games left in the season. I think I saw Keith Smith say they have two back to backs, so probably 18 games because I can't imagine that he's going to be playing in
Yeah.
either of the back to backs. So 18 games to figure it out and to get him ramped up to the point where he's able to play however many minutes per game in the playoffs. I think another potential benefit of this, though, is everybody getting knocked back into the pecking order of where they really should be. Like, Derek White has not had the best shooting season in the world. He's going to get better looks with Jason Tatum on the court, regardless of how good Tatum looks individually, just because of the threat that he poses. Peyton Pritchard's going to get better looks. Jaylen Brown's going to get better looks. I saw ESPN had something earlier today where they were writing about it, and Zach Kram had a stat on that where they were like all in the 50s to 100s in terms of expected shot quality based on the second spectrum metrics this year. And I would expect those numbers to come up just from having Tatum on the court.
I would also say though too, we have to be wary of that because he's coming back from an Achilles injury. Like
Yeah,
you
he's
don't
not going
come
to
back.
be 100%. I would also like honestly the biggest thing on the court that worries me even more than the offense is what if he can't defend at the same level?
Yeah, that's the lateral stuff is the stuff you have to really worry about. But it's the other thing too of like with Achilles injuries, when you come back, it's not the Achilles that you're so much worried about. It's all the other body parts in your leg, on both legs, by the way, because your body overcompensates. It doesn't bend the same way or it's
Yeah.
less elastic. So now your hamstring responds a little bit differently. And yeah, he's been playing and doing 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, and all this fun stuff. It's different once you're in the NBA game and it's not as controlled an environment, right? And so it's like that's something to monitor too. And then it's just him kind of adjusting to everything. So again, I'm not a Debbie. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'm excited for this. I think it's great if he does come back. It's good for the league and everybody, and it's fun, and especially in an Eastern Conference that's kind of wide open. I think it's interesting there, and that's just something we'll obviously talk more about once we see a few more games about him, and then we can kind of talk about it. And you guys, yeah, sure, you guys can say Mo's the sky is falling type of guy. Sort
I'm
of.
glad you brought up the overcompensation injuries, by the way. As someone with extensive experience in overcompensation injuries, like I tore my labrum in my hip. My doctor said over the course of like the 10 years between when I tore my knee and when I tore my labrum, because it completely changed the way that I walked and ran, and I tore it through friction on the opposite side of my body. Like, those things are real. And
Yeah.
obviously, his body is going to work a lot differently than mine. His rehab obviously is going to work a lot differently than mine. But we've seen, like,
We've seen
Tyrese
for
Halliburton,
players.
possible that he had an overcompensation injury to tear his Achilles in the first place, like changing the way he moves because of his calf injury. Like Kevin Durant, same thing. Like, we've seen guys injure the opposite side of their body, especially coming back from injuries to one side of their body. It's a concern. I'm not like I don't think that they would be letting him come back if they had significant concerns about the way he's like his biomechanics. Those are the kind of things that they're monitoring always. But whenever you have an injury to one side of your body, it's always a concern that the other side of your body could be affected for sure.
Yeah, you have to just be cognizant of it. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. Let's talk about actual teams and people that are actually playing on the court. We had a really fun game between the Knicks and the Thunder. Potential finals preview. I say potential finals preview because I just have no idea who's coming out of the East. I have a few questions for you about the Thunder, but let's start really with the Knicks. Like, that was impressive because they did not play that well, especially in the first half offensively. Only got 40 points in the first half offensively. They had a 40-point, was it a 40-point third quarter or fourth
Yep.
quarter?
Third quarter,
right? Yeah, come and got it going. But the thing that impressed me the most, and this has been the case for a while, their defense has been great. And they're coming off a nice win in Toronto, coming off a really nice win against the Spurs. Like, the defense has been the thing that's really stood out to me for them.
Yeah, they have the best defense in the league over the last 6 weeks, which is crazy considering where they came from earlier in the year, and especially where they were during that 2-9 stretch that they had, like shortly after the NBA Cup. I think that the loss to the Thunder was more about their offense, though. Like they just did not get into the paint at all in the first half. They were just basically never. I was talking about it on Blue Sky throughout the entire first half that I was going to look at the tracking data, but then I didn't because in the third quarter they kept getting into the paint, and that was why they had their 40-point third quarter. But the way the Thunder were able to keep them out of the paint, I thought in the first and second quarter, and then again in the fourth quarter, is really what led their offense to kind of be stymied throughout those 3 quarters. And they only scored they scored 100 points, right? So they scored 40 in the third and 60 in the other 3 quarters. So yeah, Kason Wallace was unbelievable on Brunson throughout the entire game. Like if you want to watch a clinic defensively, go watch again the first, second, and fourth quarters of him defending Jalen Brunson. The third quarter was obviously a little bit different, which Landry Shamet was the one getting into the paint for a lot of those plays.
Known driver of paint touches.
Yeah, it was Landry Shamet, and then it was like Karl Anthony Towns offensive rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns, by the way, playing a lot better in recent weeks, shooting like 60-something% from the field since the All-Star game, 50-something% from 3, but only, I believe, 8 shots in the game yesterday, if I'm remembering correctly. He's got 3 games in the last 5 with less than 10 shots. Can't happen.
It's been kind of frustrating watching the offense kind of with Cat. Not in the sense that, like, there were possessions where Cat had SGA in the post at one point, and it was in the first half, and I forget who it was. Might have been Shamet, who took like a corner 3 that wasn't contested but wasn't open, right? Like that should have been it went from the wing to the corner, and that should have been a dump down into the post to Cat who had the mismatch, and they didn't. It's weird, like sometimes how Cat doesn't get the touches. And I know I sound like this is what Cat's been screaming about all season, and a lot of Knicks fans have been upset about. Hasn't gotten a lot of the touches that you would think, and it was notable, and it's something to keep an eye on when you're watching their offense. Is like how involved are they? It's not how involved is Cat. It's how are they trying to get him involved? Are they trying to get him touches? Or like it would have been one thing if it's like, damn, I can't get the ball into the post. I got to kick it to somebody else. But it was like it wasn't even a thought when that 3 went up, and I just kind of went like, noted.
There were times where they couldn't enter it to him, but those were the times when like Caruso and Dort were on him, which those are not mismatches. As big as Towns is, like those are not mismatches.
But like you said, it's other games though. Too.
Yeah,
like it's across other games where we're not getting that, and I think the thing is we're kind of struggling a little bit with that, and the Knicks are struggling with that, and I think trying to figure out how to kind of make this go, but it's that's a problem. But I'm also the other thing for me, Jared, is like I don't trust them still. Up and down roller coaster, 15 great games defensively. Then it's like, okay, the next 10 could be dog shit defensively. Like that's the thing that's the way this season has gone. It's been up, down. It's been a roller coaster. So I have concerns with that. But it was impressive to see them hang in with this.
And to fight back. They were down 15 points in the third quarter, and they were leading at the end of the third. They had an 18-point swing in the middle of the third quarter.
Yeah,
I had the stat earlier, by the way, on Towns. He's taken less than 10 shots 10 times this year, which is his most in a season since 2018. And the Knicks are 7-3 in those games, incredibly. But the 3 losses are to Oklahoma City, Detroit, and Cleveland.
Kind of need to get him touches. Is basically, especially against those teams when you're playing. But this is a good sign for the Knicks, though. I think this week has been a good week for them in the way they've kind of. I'm working on it now, but the offside power rankings they've gone up a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
They've also got their schedule coming up. They've got Denver tomorrow. They've got the Lakers after that. I believe they play the Clippers.
Can we talk real quickly about the schedule, just in general?
Yeah.
We have some not in the way I think you want to talk about, but like we have some bangers coming of
Oh
games,
yeah.
and I
I will
like
say, by the way, just before we get into that, why were both the Knicks and Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back for that game on ESPN? The Thunder rested some guys on the first night, so they were more
ready for this game.
more ready. But like J Dub was going to be out no matter what. But Mitchell Robinson didn't play in that game, and I think that probably had an impact on the game. But it was more
I think
important for the Knicks to get the conference win against the Raptors, who are behind them for the number like 2 through 4 seeds. The Raptors are in fifth. So
Well, I think the scheduling, when they make the scheduling, they have to do a better job of acknowledging national TV games. Shouldn't be the front end or the back end of a back to back.
no,
That's just my and the shit's hard, but I think in general they need to kind of sort. And then it's like I always say this. This is always was my thought. Not always. It was only when we had the pandemic season. They didn't release the full schedule. They released half the schedule and then did the second half. I love that, and I think they should do that each year.
I didn't even remember that. I
So
think the reason they don't is because of arena availability.
you can hold dates. Just tell them to hold these dates. And you're right, for sure. And again, but I think there's a way to kind of do that where, because then you could set it up so like, oh shit, Charlotte's killing it. Let's get them on national TV a little bit. And I guess maybe some of it is national TV probably wants to have the teams they want. But like Charlotte's playing really well. We should have them on national TV a little bit more. Right? Like that should be with that, and then we can make sure the schedule works so that it's not back-to-backs or whatnot. I just think there's a little bit more of an advantage to setting up higher national TV games if you do it that way. Just random Mo thought, maybe not possible. Who knows? I'm full of a lot of dumb ideas and usually a few great ones. But let's move on because we got to talk Thunder. And part of the way we want to talk Thunder and the entire West, we want to talk about your very scientific scale.
Oh
Again,
yeah.
Remind the listeners of your scale, and then we can. I know I didn't talk a lot of Thunder about this game, but I wanted to save it for here.
Yeah, we've got the, I'm now calling them the extremely scientific trust ratings, which are based on a proprietary formula that is basically just me coming up with a number in my head from 1 to 10 of how much I trust the team. And it can be a combination of trusting them in the regular season or the playoffs or both, or it's honestly just kind of vibes based. And that's really what it is. So I've got them for the top 7 teams in the West because those are the ones that are sort of competing. Like it seems like at this point the Thunder are I think 3 games ahead of the Spurs for the number 1 seed, and then the Spurs are like 5 games ahead of the Rockets for the number 2 seed. But the numbers 3 to 7 seeds are bunched within like a 3 or 4 game band. So I've got them for the Thunder, Spurs, Rockets, Wolves, Nuggets, Lakers, and Suns, which is the order that they're in the standings right now.
So let's start with the Thunder.
Yeah. We will start with the
trust
Thunder.
rating?
They are 49-15, 5th in offense, 1st in defense, and my extremely scientific trust rating is between a 9 and a 9.5. And really, the only reason it's not a 10 is because of the injuries to Jalen Williams. Otherwise, that would be at maximum trust.
So I'm probably 8.5 to 9 because.
But this is the same thing we had last season when I trusted them more than you too. So this is the same thing the same difference that we had.
And I think it's still the same because I don't think they can win 4 playoff series without Jalen Williams. Right? Like, that's the thing. And I'm getting more and more worried that we're not going to get – and I mean peak Jalen Williams, by the way. Because, like, even he hasn't been great when he's been out there.
No, not at all.
Right? And I think that's kind of like a thing that I would be a bit concerned about. And I think that's where the Jared McCain was a big pickup for them. Another little bit, oomph off the bench of scoring. Caruso didn't finish the game last night. Hartenstein didn't finish the game last night. Like, they were beginning to take hits Not beginning. They've been doing it. To be honest, they did it last year. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong, but they had at least SGA and Jalen Williams healthy for most of the season, and heading into the play and playing well. Obviously, SGA is the MVP. He's still playing well, so he's. But I am worried about that with Williams. So unless I can see him get 10 games before the playoffs and see him play like Jalen Williams, they're at more of an 8.5 for me. With
I mean,
that.
I totally understand it. I just have so much faith in their defense on a night-to-night basis. I feel like it's just so hard to crack that for basically any team in the league. And having that as like the most dependable unit in the NBA gives me like a baseline level of trust that's so much higher than it is for any other team.
Well, the one thing I would say about like their defense is predicated on making you play ISO basketball, and that's where they kill you. It's the teams that move the ball that really kind of go side to side, that really and can attack you with multiple ball. That's why they have such a problem with the Spurs. They can attack you with multiple ball handlers. That's really the area that hurts you with that stuff. Where are you with the Spurs?
So the Spurs, let's see, they are 44-17, eighth in offense, third in defense. I have them at between like a 6.5 and a 7, just because of the inexperience in the playoffs and the lack of shooting. I'm just concerned that they're not going to be able to hit the ceiling that we've seen them hit during the regular season.
So this might be one of the few times where you're the negative Nancy on this one. I'm higher. I'm
I do
actually
want to
closer
explain real quick the ratings are relative to the conference. So when I had like a 6.5, 7 for the Cavs, that's in the East.
Yeah,
So
You're not saying they're
lower.
on the same level. You're not
Right,
saying
that's
Cleveland
much
and
lower than a 6.5, 7 in the West for the Spurs.
That's an important. I understood that, but that's important for everybody else to kind of understood. This is based on the West. For me, I have them at like an 8, even close to an 8.5.
So you've got them like extremely close to the Thunder.
Yeah, I think yes. I am worried about the inexperience of the playoffs. Like I think that's going to be a thing with that, and that's just it is what it is. There's nothing they can do to fix that.
No.
That's just where they're at, right? I think their defense travels. I think their defense is really good. They had a really bad game against the Knicks. And part of that was the Knicks defense also was really good, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
The Knicks were really
Phenomenal.
really in their ass in that game. But I think like I love what I've seen so far from Castle, from the three-headed guard monster of Castle, Fox, and Harper. And it hasn't been very Fox dependent, which I thought might be the case at the start of the year. But those guys have been so good, they've been able to kind of keep that going. And then they're getting stuff from Champagny, from Vassell. I love Keldon Johnson coming off the bench. I don't think he gets enough credit for just keeping offensive possessions alive. Like I've watched a ton of Spurs over the past few years. I don't remember him being this much of a offensive rebounder as he's been this season. And I think that's been a really positive thing for them in the way they go about things. Wemby's Wemby. We all love him. Their defense is a whole nother level when he's on the floor and things like that. Yeah, the shooting is a concern. And their inexperience is a concern. But they've proven to be able to handle all that stuff. Like, it's been pretty solid, like, across the board. They might struggle when teams kind of get a chance to scout and sit down and plan a 7-game series against them. But I kind of just like the way their position and the team is built. And if experience is going to be the only thing that we're really going to ding them on for the most part, besides shooting, I'm kind of just going to say like, no, I think they'll be fine. I don't know if they're a champion, but like I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Keldon Johnson, career high 8% offensive rebound rate, by the way, was below 5% for his career coming into this year, but it's also been trending up. 2.9% in 2023, 5% in 2024, 6.5% last year, 8% this year. So he's been crashing the glass increasingly over the last few years as he's kind of not been on the ball as much as he was earlier in his career as they've added talent around him.
And give him credit for that. That's like an adjustment that he's made, going like, all right, ball's not going to be in my hands that much. What do I do now? Whereas other players sulk and want. We're at a time where there was like Keldon Johnson is going to, and he still might in the offseason, but like he might get traded and things like that. Like this is a little bit. I just like where they're coming from. That's where I'm at with them.
Yeah,
I'm very.
I'm less worried about the inexperience than I am about the general lack of shooting. Like Fox is down to I think 33% from three, if I'm remembering correctly, after starting the season incredibly hot. I'm going to try to bring that up like while I'm talking right now. Harper is obviously kind of a non-shooter so far. Castle is a non-shooter. Nobody's going to care. Fox is down to 34.6%, not 33%. Nobody's going to care if Harrison Barnes shoots. For the most part, they're not going to care if Keldon Johnson shoots, even though he's been shooting it pretty well. Like, they're going to care if Champagnie shoots, and they're going to care if Wemby shoots. But other than that, they're really just going to load up on taking away the paint. And I think in the context of 7-game series, when you're so dedicated to doing that, it just makes things much more difficult offensively than they have been throughout this year. I obviously trust the defense a lot when Wemby is on the court. The non-Wemby minutes are going to be even more difficult. And I think this might be a situation where, like Giannis early in his career, he expends so much energy. Like, can Wemby play 38, 40 minutes in a playoff game? That's not necessarily something we see him do in the regular season. It's really hard to ramp up to that. We saw that with the Cavs last year, by the way, where they played their guys low 30s minutes all year. And then when they had to ramp up in the playoffs, they were just dead ass tired against the Pacers, who had a little bit more experience doing that and were so physical with them up and down the court. And Kenny Atkinson said it was a problem for them. I'm wondering if that's going to be the case with Wemby playing more minutes like it was for Giannis early in his career, and they weren't willing to do it because he just didn't have the energy to expend to be able to do that.
So I think, one, I agree with you on the ramp up. This is actually something I think teams should start doing now, knowing in March you want to slowly start to kind of ramp the minutes up a little bit with your guys. Like probably about mid-March to the playoffs, slowly start adding games of like, maybe not on back-to-backs, but like, start loading them up a little bit more with minutes to get their body acclimated. That's a fair one. Here's my thing about the shooting. And I'm not as concerned because we've seen teams that can't shoot or don't have a great shooting percentage go very far in the playoffs. Like, look at the Thunder's 3-point shooting percentage last season in the playoffs. 33.8. That's dog shit. Like, that's bad. Like,
it's below average.
I mean, like their regular season was 37 and they go down to 33. Like it became a problem for them.
Yeah.
To a degree in that sense. But they were still able, like their defense is good enough to get out and transition, all of those things. Like there's always going to be a bunch, like I think we focus just a tiny bit too much. Or we put too much an emphasis on playoff shooting than we should. And I think that's something that's why I'm not as concerned. But this has been a lot of Spurs talk. I'm fascinated what your trust ranking is going to be on the next team. I'm fascinated. Please go.
The Houston Rockets, 38-22, 7th in offense, 5th in defense. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. My trust rating is between a 5.5 and a 6. The half-court offense in particular and the shooting, obviously, for them. The offense since Steven Adams went out is bottom 10 in the NBA. I don't care how good your defense is. You cannot win in the playoffs with a bottom 10 offense. I'm not buying it.
Yeah. I'm lower than you. I'm at you know what? Fuck it. I'm at a 3.
A 3?
I'm going to go 4. I'm at a 3. You can't, first off, their clutch offense is not good enough. Right?
Way too much of their offense, way too much of their offense in general is just KD go do something or Şengün go do something.
No. But before that, a lot of their offense in general was like, well, we'll get our miss.
Yeah.
we'll rebound our miss and then have 2 or 3 cracks at it. And it's like, that's not going to work anymore because you don't have Steven Adams. Your offensive rebound percentage has dropped since you've had Adams. You're still, I think, top 3 or top 4 last I looked, but the big difference. I think it's like a 4-point drop in where they're at. I think on top of all of that, you don't have an offensive system. Crunch time, you're debating if you're going to play Reed Shepherd or not. When you don't play him, you don't have enough shooting or scoring on the floor to space the floor properly. That was a big thing in the loss to the Knicks down the stretch in that game. And then when you go to we play Reed Shepherd, who I think they should play in crunch time, yeah, you are worried defensively. The teams are going to target him defensively.
They have the defensive infrastructure to overcome it, though.
Well, that's what I think is what they got to do. But I think the moment he gives up something, or in the playoffs he starts to get hunted, I think Udoka is going to get scared and go back to let's just have our defense out there. I don't trust them because I don't think they have a coherent offense. And even Amen Thompson has improved as a playmaker, but not to the point that I feel that confident where I'm like, it's not the improvement level the leap they needed him to make. Remember, I said at the beginning of the year, he'll get better. It's a leap for the future. It won't help them this year. And I think that's kind of coming to fruition with what they have. I am very low on them in the sense of like, I don't think they can go past the second round. I mean, and I think I would pick against them in the first round depending who they match up with.
Yeah, I think depending on who they match up with, I could see myself picking against them in the first round too. So I guess I should probably downgrade the trust rating. It's like a 5 instead of a 5.5 or 6. Just, I know we like to, like you said, we focus too much on the shooting sometimes, but for them, in addition to the shooting, it's not having like the flow into multiple actions or anything beyond go do something for one of your 2 best players, or the occasional ball screen for Thompson where he eats up all the space, or the occasional like, let's use Reed Shepherd as a screener twice a game that they do throughout the year. Like, you got to mix in more stuff, more variety than what they have.
Yeah, and I think that's just a massive problem. So we're in alignment in them being down. It's just I'm way lower than that. Where are you on the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Minnesota Timberwolves, 39-23, 9th in offense, 9th in defense. Possibly the most inconsistent team in the NBA on a night-to-night basis. I've got them at between a 6.5 and a 7. I trust Anthony Edwards implicitly, and in the playoffs, he's been so good right up until he meets a defense that can exploit the fact that the Timberwolves don't really have other playmakers that you can trust. Julius Randle, great for 2 rounds last year. Horrible against the Thunder, which was not surprising at all, given the way they play defense. Ayo Dosunmu should help in terms of having another playmaker out there, but does he give them like the kind of offensive organization that they need that we've been talking about for the last few years as being a problem? Like, they don't have to depend on Mike Conley anymore. Again, Mike Conley's my age, and last year was good. This year has mostly not been good. Rudy Gobert in the playoffs. There are some issues. Like, I don't think people over exaggerate when they say he gets played off the floor in the playoffs. Like, that's not true. But there are obvious issues against certain teams and in certain coverages. And I don't think that the Randall Reed lineups work well enough against most teams to overcome those situations where you do have Gobert as like a minor issue.
So I'm a little bit surprised you're so low on them. I'm a little bit higher. You thought we'd be closer on this one. I'm probably at like a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Wait, what did I say? 7?
You said 6.5 to 7.
Oh, I have written down 7 to 7.5, so I just read that wrong.
Okay, then we're at 7. I also love that you have a range with your scientific trust rating scale. It's always like 7 to 7.5, 8 to 8.5. No, it's like, okay, you're cheating, but it's your game, so you get to.
they're
think
extremely scientific, you know. So
they're extremely
like,
scientific. So
the algorithm spits out what it spits out. Like that's just what it is.
I have them at 7.5. I like the way. I think one guy you didn't really mention was Jaden McDaniels. I think he's been really good for them this season in the way they've kind of produced. And they got Kyle Anderson, who likes to pass the ball, according to Rudy. That wasn't great. That was kind of stupid from Rudy, and that does kind of hurt that should hurt the rating system. I'm going to give them more credit than I think. They made 2 Western Conference Finals in a row.
Mm.
They know how to play. Yes, they're massively inconsistent because they play to the level of their competition. But when they're playing high-end competition, they have wins against everybody in the West.
Yeah.
Right? Like in terms of wins against OKC, San Antonio, Denver. We know the rivalry between them and Denver, which is absolutely fun and fantastic to watch. I think I have them at closer to a 7.5. Just for that reason, I think they do a good job. Ant takes his game to another level. Some of this is going to be seeding based and where you end up and how that kind of plays out for you matchup wise. Mm-hmm. But you can't tell me no team is looking at them going we're not afraid of them. Or I should say afraid. It's but they're afraid might be too much. But we have concerns when it comes to them. We're worried about this when we play them. They can do this to us that we can't really deal with. And I think that's a big thing for them.
I'm glad you brought up McDaniels. I should have mentioned him. The one team I think that is not scared or concerned about them at all is still the Thunder. Just the way they are against teams that swarm you defensively. I just think they're going to turn the ball over way too much in that matchup for it to be remotely competitive. But a lot of this is going to come down to, in the conference finals against the Mavericks, we saw that Luka was an A+ decision maker and Anthony Edwards was a B or B+ decision maker.
Right.
Last year against the Thunder, we saw that Shea and J-Dub were A- to A decision makers, and Anthony Edwards was a B+ decision maker.
Ooh, why'd you go lower even?
But B or B+ decision maker.
E-.
Even lower than that, you think?
The way that series went and the way he handled it, C+.
If he can get to being an A- decision maker on a consistent basis, that changes things a lot for me.
Yeah, and I think that's a big one there too. And he's trying. Also, some of it too is it also means you have to pass to Rudy from time to time, and that's
pass that at double teams, and much to the chagrin of Chris Finch that he doesn't.
I love that though when he was like, "I don't pass," and they have that relationship. He's tried. He's actually been putting a lot more effort into being more of a playmaker at crunch time, but also at the end of the day, that's who you want taking the shot for you if you're Minnesota.
Yeah.
To a large degree. Where are you what's our next team and where are you?
Next team is the Denver Nuggets, 38-24, first in offense, 22nd in defense. I am at an 8 to 8.5, ... if they're actually healthy. Aaron Gordon supposedly is coming back tomorrow against the Knicks, but he's also already come back once this year and then gone back out again. Peyton Watson, we still don't know when he's going to be playing again. I want to trust them just as much as any team except for Oklahoma City, but I have to see Aaron Gordon actually able to make it through the rest of the season.
So I have them at an 8 because of that. Right? Now, at the end of the season, they look healthy, and it's not just Aaron Gordon. It's Peyton Watson as well.
Cam Johnson, too, has been dealing with.
He's been dealing with stuff, and he hasn't quite had the season I think we all thought that he was going to have with them. And I think that's not I don't think that's a shot at him. Some people are taking it or giving it as if it's a shot to him, but I think it's more just man, sometimes you just got to figure it out. It might take a season before you kind of figure out the whole situation. But I am worried that they're not going to get enough games fully healthy and understand how they want to play. And it's not that it's okay, look, yeah, they've been together for a long time. Even, bringing Bruce Brown, he knows the system, how to play. Valanciunas kind of knows how he wants to play. Cam has an idea but hasn't really figured it out yet. But it's all these guys need to be on the floor together and figure this stuff out. They haven't had a lot of Peyton Watson and Aaron Gordon on the floor together with Jokic in the starting lineups and things like I'm a little bit more worried with that. Now, if they're healthy in 2 weeks, I might we get 2 weeks, 3 weeks of them just being awesome and fully healthy. I might completely change my tune and come in and be like this. And this is the team I picked to go to the finals. I picked them to beat the Thunder in the playoffs. Like, I think this is going to be interesting. But like, I need to see a little bit this being healthy before I can go up on the ratings.
Yeah, I would say this could be like a 9 2 weeks from now. Yeah. That's entirely possible. But we also need, I need to see the defense show improvement when Gordon gets back. Like, that's the biggest thing. You can't have a bottom 10 defense. You got to be at least like an average or better defense, even with the offense as good as they've been. But Gordon is so key to everything they do defensively. Like, they just need him so badly on that end of the court that they're basically DOA without him, as we've seen throughout this year. But before he got hurt the first time, they were playing like a top 10 defense with him on the court.
Right. So we'll see. But and it also takes a while for him to get back and in the flow of things. And can he just stay healthy?
Yeah.
That first round, by the way, Minnesota, Denver.
Whew.
Spicy.
I kind of I was going to say, I wrote about it in the seeding battles thing that I did this morning. I would favor the Nuggets to get the number 3 seed, except that they're not healthy and they have the toughest remaining strength of schedule in the league.
Yeah.
By a pretty significant margin. They
got to pick. It's crazy. I saw that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Their remaining opponents have a .551 winning percentage. That's first. The team in second is the Timberwolves at .535.
Also the other thing too, the games that they have left when we're talking about remaining schedule. 2 with the Thunder. Can't wait to see Jokic seeing Dort again. San Antonio, 3 games. Another Knicks game, which is tomorrow. Rockets, right. 2 with the Lakers, who I'm sure we're about to talk about. I mean, and another one with Toronto. The 5 games between the Thunder and the Spurs in your last 20 games. That is a quarter of your schedule left.
It's going to be awesome, though. Like you said, we have bangers coming up throughout the rest of the season.
That's what I'm saying. Awesome. I've been looking looking at the remaining strength of schedule, and I'm like, we still got these games. Oklahoma City and Boston 2 more times. Are you freaking kidding? Let's go. We got some real bangers. I hope the season ends on an incredibly strong note with that. But let's move on to the Lakers because they're the next team.
Oh, the Lakers. 37 and 20. 37 and 24, 10th in offense, 21st in defense. They only win close games. They don't play any defense when you hit the blowout games. In games decided by 10 or more points, they are 18 and 19 in those games. They only win games that go into clutch time. I trust the Lakers around a 3, maybe.
Okay, no, I'm at a 1 because you said it was 1 to 10, right? I can't go to 0. So
it's 1 to 10. The only reason I don't have them at a 1 or a 2 is they do have Luka and LeBron on the team.
Yeah, there's only so much they can do when there's absolutely no defense behind them.
Yeah.
And they also have DeAndre Ayton on the team.
You know what? I'm knocking them down to a 2.5.
Yeah. So, I look at them. Their only chance to get out of the first round, and I don't even know if it's a good chance, is if they get Houston in the first round. If they stay at the 3 to 6 range. It's the only team I think I'd go all right, well, they play offense. This team only plays, the defense is going to be interesting. I know they struggle with athleticism, which is something Houston has in spades. But, ending game stuff, if they keep it close, I feel like the Lakers would be able to kind of pull it out. But I don't have any faith in them across after that. That's where I'm very – and they're very lucky Phoenix is kind of banged up because I think there'd be a legitimate chance they'd be a play-in team.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and we both thought that the Suns were going to pass the Lakers before the Dillon Brooks injury.
And I think they're in a bad spot because they just don't have enough defense. They don't – and, I'm going to just do a quick little rant here. and I say this, I'm rubbing my head because it hurts me when I think this whole Nico was right thing
Oh God.
is so goddamn dumb. And I have a suspicion of where this is being pushed, and I think it's a clutch talking point because Draymond said it on his podcast. I think as soon as LeBron's no longer a Laker, Rich Paul's going to start going off about it on his podcast. I just want to say he was not right. Even if this Laker team is not built well around, not built to have Luka on the team right now. They weren't really prepared for it, and this has been a gap year for them. I think going into this season even was kind of their thought process. I think the other aspect of it too is like, you can tell me he was right about Luka not playing defense and stuff. He took you to the finals.
The Western Conference Finals once before that too.
Yeah, you've made deep playoff runs before with him. You may hated the dude. You may not wanted to work with him, which that's a different story. But just don't come to me and tell me Nico was right, because he wasn't. He was dumb and it's stupid. And the way the Lakers season has gone, you can't look at it and say, see, this is what Nico was talking about. Yeah, forgetting the fact that Nico also built the team around Luka, and they went to the finals.
Also, they built their next team around Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis played like 4 games and then got traded for not very much. So, no, Nico was not right.
And we need to stop
Let me ask you
this
this about the Lakers, by the way. Why are they not better on offense? They're only 10th on offense.
I would say, like, part of it is they haven't. The in and out of the lineups between LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, I think, has been part of the problem where they haven't really been able to kind of put in stuff. I think they also struggle a lot with. Redick wants to play more sets and systems and let's get you off ball, on ball, and keep you moving. And then Luka wants to play more on ball. LeBron wants to play more on ball. Like, they struggle a little bit with that tug of war of that, and I think that's kind of a hard thing that they haven't really been able to meld, and it becomes difficult to meld when you have the like I said, these guys. Okay, no LeBron tonight, no Reeves tonight. Luka, you got to carry the offense tonight, right? And then you don't have a lot of shooting. You don't have a lot of the rim roll. Their best rim roller is Jackson Hayes.
That's where I was going to go. Where the best way to build around both LeBron and Luka that we've seen throughout their careers is to have them be the lead decision maker at the top of the floor with a rim roller and shooters dotting around the arc. But when they're playing with each other, that's one less shooter dotting around the arc. When they're playing with DeAndre Ayton, you don't have a rim roller, and you don't have somebody to really protect the rim because he's not all that interested in doing that. He just wants to get his points on the other end of the court. So they're not built optimally for either guy. And I still thought it was going to work better than this, though. But the point that you made about them not really playing in the same games enough is probably a good one.
Yeah, I just think they just run into a lot of problems where they don't really kind of understand that. And I think also it's like part of it is on JJ and making sure they get their offense together. There's a lot of different reasons why it hasn't really been as good as you would have wanted it to. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, this is a poorly constructed team.
Yeah. Which we kind of knew coming into the season.
Yeah. Kind of, I mean, this was one of those teams, I think our assessment of them been right. If they didn't start the season so well, they'd be a play-in team. They had a pretty good start to the season, and then it's kind of fallen off since. Even Austin Reeves isn't what he was when he started the season as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's also an important distinction, too. Like, they're kind of not quite where they were at the start of the year. Yeah. Well, let's go to the next team, right? You had 7, right?
Next team is the Phoenix Suns. They are 35-26, 17th in offense, 10th in defense. Got them at like a 3.5, maybe lower than that. Like, I trust that they're going to work hard every night. I trust that they're going to play hard. I just think that there's a talent gap between them and the other teams. Like, if they're going up against the Spurs or the Thunder in the first round, like I just don't see any way that they can really be competitive there.
Yeah, I'm pretty low. I'm I'm gonna go 2, and that's above the Lakers. I understand, and maybe it's because I'm a dick and being mean to the Lakers and the way they're kind of. I'm annoyed with how they're constructed. I am going to the game tomorrow, but I just want to point out the thing for me with
Oh, is that Lakers Suns tomorrow?
no Lakers Pacers.
Oh,
Yeah, your reaction was, and there's so many good games I'm missing tomorrow. Like your reaction is,
we've got
was
Lakers Knicks on what, Sunday, right?
Sunday. That's in New
Yeah.
York, though, right?
No, it's in LA.
Oh well, yeah. So of course I get to go to the
there
game.
are bangers all day, by the way, on Sunday. Boston, Cleveland at 1, New York, LA at 3:30, Houston, San Antonio at 8, and Charlotte, Phoenix at 10.
I mean, we're kind of set. Of course, I also have a dinner I have to go to on Sunday, so that sucks. I miss some of it. I want to say this real quick. It's just tangent. The morning games, because here in the LA, that's like 10 a.m. games.
Right.
Phenomenal. I grew up on this.
There should be
What-
more East Coast afternoon games, like West Coast morning games. There should be more. There should be during the week.
We should be doing well, not during the week. Yeah, you're out of control. But like
I would love it.
The week, yeah, because you.
The problem is nobody would go. Nobody
Yeah,
would go.
that's the deal. Nobody would watch. Everybody's at work during the week.
I would
you wanna-
watch.
Yeah, we work from home. We're the two more. We're I know we're the work from home captains here. but the Saturday, Sunday, as soon as football season ends, should be those mornings should have games. That's just like, and it goes. I'll save my rants for another time. The Suns are too. My only thing is, I would be higher on the Suns if I felt more confident about Devin Booker's health. Right, like he played last game, played 31 minutes, great. That's after a 4-game layoff. Played the game before that, 1-game layoff. 2 games, then it's a 6-7 game layoff. Like I'm now like he is not right. I'd be a little bit higher. I'd feel more confident that they'd overtake the Lakers even. But like where they're at health wise, and obviously Brooks being out with the broken hand, like I'm just a little bit lower. And then their front court depth, is pretty bad. But let me revisionist history for you real quick, or go back a little bit. Seeing the way Mark Williams has played this season, would you, if you're the Lakers, do you regret rescinding that trade? You don't play Dalton Connect. Yes, you would have lost a first-round draft pick out of that, but you would have had a better rim roller than DeAndre Ayton.
Was it just a one first-round pick, or was it 2?
It was just. Pretty sure it was just 1. Maybe I'm wrong.
If it was just 1, and I'm remembering that correctly, I feel like I would have a little bit of regret about it. If it was 2, I still think that's too much to give up for Mark Williams. But he would be a significantly better fit for them than DeAndre Ayton. So on a certain level, there is some regret no matter what the cost is, because the cost of acquiring Ayton salary-wise was not very much. But the problem is you still have DeAndre Ayton on the court no matter what he costs. Once he's on the court, it doesn't matter what his salary is. He's just DeAndre Ayton out there.
Yes, it's the salary doesn't matter when you look at Ayton. Man, I can't really find it. But the salary isn't the problem with Ayton, right? He just doesn't play at the level you need him to play at. He's just not the guy you need, and that's where you kind of struggle with, or at least I struggle with when I watch. This is part of the reason why he's my least favorite basketball player. Like the talent level the skill should be there, but he's just not. He's not there, and it's just it's awful with where they're set up. I cannot find this trade anywhere.
And the rescinded trade is not on Pro Sports Transactions, which usually has rescinded trades on there, but
it's like they want to make it so that we can't find it. Hold on a second, I might have found it. You know what? God bless.
I think it was connecting a first round pick.
It was a 2030 pick swap and a 2031 unprotected first-round pick.
2031 is a long way out, but you do still have Luka. So I'd have some level of regret, but a swap and a first is still a lot to give up for
There you go.
a guy
You
who
wouldn't have
is
done
like,
it. You wouldn't
yeah, I
have done
probably
it.
wouldn't have done it.
That's the
The
answer.
guy who is like an okay starting center.
Right.
Still.
So, all right. That was just a thought. I'm not sure where I stand on it. So that's why it was just a thought with all that stuff. I want to do one team honorable mention and throw it at you.
Sure. Is it the Clippers?
Yes. Where are they on your trust scale rating? They are. I know. Listen, sorry, Golden State fans, we skipped you because I don't. I'll speak for Jared on this one, and if he disagrees with me, I'll slap him. We don't trust y'all. Y'all are not good. You're very bad.
No trust.
Right
Don't know if Steph Curry is even going to be on the court. So
Yes.
less than
So,
no
there.
trust.
Yeah. So Clippers, real quick, and then let's get out of here.
I don't have the stats and whatnot in front of me, so
I can do this
I'm not
though.
gonna read those.
They are 29 and 31, 9th in the NBA. Give me 1 second because I hit this button. They are. Oh boy, I'm really bad at
They're
this.
9th in the West, by the way, not 9th in the NBA, obviously.
9th in the West. Excuse me. Well, the
They
West to
are
me is
12th.
the NBA.
12th in offense and 19th in defense. I would probably have them around like a 4 in the extremely scientific trust ratings. Like Darius Garland's debut, like the first half of Darius Garland's debut, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
What's rough?
It was roof stoof. The second half, much better. I think he had 12 points in the second half, if I'm remembering correctly. Did he have all 12 of his points in the second? Or maybe it was 9 of his 12. I think he had a 3 in the
He had a
first half,
3
if
in
I'm
the
remembering
first
correctly.
half.
Have they played another game since then? If they have,
Yeah, they played last night. But I didn't really lock in because it was the mighty Indiana Pacers that I'm going to be seeing tomorrow, and I didn't want to spoil my surprise.
I did not see that game, but it looks like they kicked ass, and Garland had another 12 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. So pretty nice
Coming off the
performance
bench for them. He's coming off the bench, still on the
minutes restriction.
minutes restriction. I'm going to say this. If Kawhi's healthy, 5. They're tough,
But you
man.
can't trust that Kawhi is going to be healthy, is the thing, and you got to factor that into the extremely
Well,
scientific.
if he's not healthy, it's a 1.
it's part
but,
of the
you know,
algorithm. Like it's
I'll-
like
so that
it's
so then
like
I'll
a
go, okay,
1 if he's not healthy, and like a 5-ish if he is healthy. So I'm sort of splitting the difference
we're-
because he's healthy right now. So I
2.5
give it a 4.
then. Oh, you went higher than that. Okay. Well, then I'll go with you with the 4. I want to say this, and I bring Yannick Niedenhauser.
YKN. I like him.
I like him. And I think that was part of the calculus with the Zubac trade. Was they were like, we're confident we can build him into something and go from there. I like where
He's
they're
got
set
a
up.
very high activity level.
I like that. I know some people hate him, but I like Mathurin.
I love
think
Mathurin.
Mathurin's
I'm a sucker for Benedict Mathurin for sure.
I think Mathurin's good for them, just adding more scoring punch. With that, obviously, if Kawhi's healthy, it's that stuff. Chris Dunn has been great defensively in the way he's been playing lately. Like I just like this team. I know you love Jordan Miller. He's been solid for them this year.
Yeah, he and Kobe Sanders have both been good.
So it's like I kind of, you know what? No, I'm going back to 5.
All right.
Going back to 5. That's where I'm at.
I can get there if Kawhi is healthy. And he's healthy right now, so that's why I lean more towards the high end of the spectrum.
I trust them more than the Suns and the Lakers. Let me just put it to you that way. At the end of the day, like that's where.
Yeah, I mean, even if the not healthy version, the not healthy version, I trust like 0, but that's not on the scale. But the healthy version, I've got them higher than the Suns and the Lakers too.
Anything else you want to hit before we leave?
Nah, man, I
We
think
went
that's
kinda
it for
long
me.
today. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening to the Double Dribble Podcast.
See y'all.